Not only a classic rivalry that lasted 20 years, but one that, boy, they did everything along the way. I mean, we talked earlier about a hair match. They had perhaps the most crazy hair match that I remember hearing about. Tell everybody about this now infamous Lawler-Dundee hair match.
Again, now by this time, as they roll along, Lawler's classic ability to draw that picture, and everybody knew the rivalry. And again, now we're a good 10 years into the king of and he'd gone through Handsome Jimmy Val. There was all kinds of feuds that he had, but him and Dundee got into it, and people knew that Dundee was married and his wife Beverly, and the circumstances presented itself that actually, as the chips fell, Dundee wanted that Southern Heavyweight Championship and wanted revenge and everything that went with it. He put his wife's hair up. And when the viewer is sitting at home going, now, wait a minute, I can kind of understand either Lawler's going to lose their hair or maybe a belt, or, okay, no, so now it's Lawler and Dundee, hair versus hair. Okay, wait a minute. Now, there's a situation where Dundee's wife could possibly lose her hair. No way. Well, again, 52 weeks a year, episodic storytelling. You damn right they showed up, because Bev put her hair up, and I wish we had an image of that to show, because it's just, what a story. That's Memphis Wrestling 101.
It's really unbelievable what we're talking about. I mean, just having a lady get her head shaved like that just feels unfathomable. And I know that we've seen it in wrestling since, but they did it first. And it was all about getting people to buy tickets next week. And that's something that you just can't shake off. Like, either you are a promoter or you're not. And Bill Dundee is a promoter to this very day. I think our producer Marcus has a photo of Bill Dundee's actual car today. So if he's coming to a town near you, this is what he's pulling up in. Take a look at this.
Is that a Crown Vic, Connie? Is that a Crown Vic?
But look at the back. That's my favorite part. Like, I know everybody focuses on him posing with the belt, kneeling down, and superstar Bill Dundee and the stars around him. They did a nice job on this wrap. But at the back, for bookings and merchandising, he lists his website, Bill-Superstar-Dundee-Enterprises.com.
That's your heart, Conrad.
My God, I just absolutely love this man and how old school it is. These are the roots of wrestling, and that's what Memphis was like. And listen, I know that some of our listeners, they think it was all about, Rock and Austin and Hogan and Savage or what have you. And I get that. But if you grew up in this area, boy, it was Lawler and Dundee. I mean, it just was. And it's such an incredible draw, and it works so well that they're going to do that retirement story that leads to that Jimmy Valiant story you were talking about earlier, where he's going to retire and he's going to sing, and now they're back out and hotter than ever. But that's all happening in 1977, and something pretty significant happened to your family in 1977 as well. Your dad is going to be looking to leave the Nick Gulas promotion because, as the story goes, he has bought part of the territory.
Or he thought.
It's been told to him or explained to him later, no, you bought an option to buy into the territory, meaning, said differently, I took your money and I'm giving you nothing for it. What are you going to do about it? And your dad decided them's fighting words and did something that nobody really expected, because you even referenced earlier that Lawler couldn't just go to one of these territory shows. He had to work what was known as an outlaw show, meaning it's not somebody who's registered with the NWA and paying dues and going to meetings and all that jazz.
For drawing money.
Yeah, they're just running little spot shows in a nothing happening 2-horse town
with no TV.
And Lawler goes to the NWA convention and stands up, explains what it is, and to a lot of people's surprise, gets a lot of support. So he's going to start his own thing here, but that even in itself has to be daunting, to the point where Even his own mother, Teeny, she ain't so sold on this. Like, son, are you sure you want to do this? Because she's been with the Goulas's forever. But what Jerry, your father, knew he had is an opportunity to take the top star with him. And that's when Jerry Lawler became much more than just a top draw and a top star. He put his hands on the steering wheel and he became part owner of the promotion. And it was in large part because of it was only because of your dad, right?
Mm-hmm. It's still to this day. Look, business has changed, but they both had grapefruits because of the way the industry worked with handshake alliances, the promoters, the however many you divide up 22 areas across the country or 26, whatever it may be, and just the way the business was done. But so my dad broke in late 60s. Here we are at least 10 years later. He had thought he had made payments and he had been booking for Roy and Nick for years. And Roy was getting dementia, Alzheimer's, and Nick, put it candidly, wasn't real successful, worried about booking his son, George. And my dad was, for all intents and purposes, running the show. And they were willingly, because of the success, yeah, Jerry, we're going to let you buy in. Yeah, Jerry, we're going to let you buy in. Okay, now you're buying in. Okay, you're going to have 10% of it. My dad was candidly elated. And that's because they were the owners, thought that, okay, he earned this. And my dad, most importantly, thought he earned it. When he found out it was all for naught, he went, okay, it's time for me to take matters into my own hands. But if I go, I've got to have a plan. And in Memphis, it was, yeah, I think I get the call letters right. WHBQ, ABC in Memphis, Tennessee was when the TV was on, and he went literally down the street, across the street to the NBC affiliate, WMC TV, and worked out a deal. And he took two people. And here's when you really think about all this, and you mentioned it, but the people that didn't go with my father, when he literally is risking a big part of his career or his entire career, Tojo Yamamoto, his in-ring partner, his mentor, blah, 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 all that. Jackie Fargo, the king of Memphis, the top babyface, another one of my dad's best friend. He was legendary. Obviously, we've talked about him. And then his own mother, who was at the time what you call the bookkeeper, but we would call him a CFO nowadays. Those three people said, hey, Jerry, we're really happy for you. And we think a lot of you, and you've been very successful. But I'm going to keep my day job. You go on, and I'm sure, and my dad said it in his own terms, hey, young kid, whippersnapper, you'll be back. Go give this a shot. But two people, at least two people that didn't say that were Lance Russell, who was the program director, and he said he would move over, Dave Brown, the weatherman, and then the third one, the third one was the top star of the territory, the King, Jerry Lawler. And Lawler's a guy that knew my relationship with this organization. Yes, Nick pays me, but sometimes he tries to screw me out of payoffs. And that's kind of where the entire, I'll say, Nick started the bad payoff legendary stories. And I've heard it through the years. And look, we were socioeconomic territory. We didn't have a New York City or a Philadelphia or a Chicago or even in Atlanta in our markets. Memphis, Nashville, Louisville, and Evansville, the population wasn't what it was. So where our payoffs less, sure, I'm not denying that. But Nick kind of was legendary of making shitty payoffs. That's where it started. But Lawler's relationship wasn't really with Nick, and certainly wasn't with Roy. It was with my father. My dad, for all intents and purposes, what we would call today is that was his producer. So he decided, you know what? I'm going to go with my producer. I got belief in him. My dad never forgot it, even years later. And we'll get into that when times really got tired and the territory was going down. My dad said, Lawler, I'm going to give you part of the business. And at that time, part of the business was just the city of Memphis. It grew into JArrett Enterprises, which was the whole territory. But Memphis Wrestling, which the TV was in and everything that went with it, my dad made the decision, if my top star is going, you damn right he deserves to be my partner.